Good morning, Carla. Good morning, listeners.
Caroline. Sorry, interrupted you saying good morning.
That's all right. We're filming, recording very early today, aren't we?
It's Caroline's punishment for wanting to record things at 7:30 in the morning is she gets to see what I look like at 7:30 in the morning.
It's all right. And
Oh,
in a reciprocal manner, you also get to see what I look like at 7 in the morning. I am actually dressed, but other than that,
I'm
no.
not. I'm in a cardigan over my nightwear, so
Sorry, I didn't turn the sound off on my phone. I have done that now. I
oh, I
didn't
have.
imagine anyone would be messaging me at this hour of the day. So it's been Easter.
It has, yes, yeah. What is it? Tuesday. Today's
It
Tuesday.
is. Yeah, it's going to be one of those weeks, isn't it, where we have no idea what day of the week it is. And
And a
then
bank holiday, and that's fine.
May's going to be even worse because I think we've got 3 bank holidays in May, so I won't know what day it is for the entirety of May.
I have a question. Is it just the UK that has bank holidays, or do other countries have them as well? I mean, I'm not necessarily the same ones as us, but do they also have some version of bank holidays, or is that just us?
Spain certainly have them.
Hmm.
And also America, like Thanksgiving is I guess their equivalent of a bank holiday. They have a day off. That's usually on a Friday, I think, isn't it?
Because we have some very random bank holidays, don't we, in the UK? The first Monday of May is always a bank holiday for absolutely no reason, as far as I can tell.
It's for Morris dancing.
Why do Morris dancers need a special day?
I've no
No,
idea.
the Morris dancing.
The reason I say it's for Morris dance is in the village we used to live in, they had a May fair on the bank holiday Monday every year, and the sort of focal central point of it was my favourite bit was the dog show with dogs that look like their owners, but that's a side note. And the central point of it was the Morris dancers doing the maypole
Yeah.
dance around the maypole type of thing. So I always think of it as the Morris dancer
Came
bank holiday.
first? Did the May bank holiday come first and then the Morris dancers jumped on that bandwagon? Or did the Morris dancers all get together and demand a special day because nobody was willing to watch them prancing around any other day of the year?
I don't know. Is the short answer to that? I have absolutely no idea. But
And
then
then
you
there's
get
one in August is called Whitsun, isn't it? And I've no idea what Whitsunday actually is. I mean, the Whitsun bank holiday is,
I don't think that's the August one.
isn't it?
I think I'm going to Google that. Bear with.
I am displaying my woeful lack of knowledge about English UK bank holidays now. But yeah, it just struck me that anyone listening from perhaps the US might be going, well, why are they having a bank holiday today? And the answer is, we don't know. And it was yesterday. And we don't know.
Whitsun is the last one in May. It's the end of May bank holiday, and Whitsun is actually a Sunday, Whit Sunday, and it's a
Is the
religious
Whit
related thing. It's the 50th day after Easter Sunday.
again? I mean, I'm not strong on my religious things, but I'm intrigued as to why somebody went right 50 days after Easter. That's a significant thing. Why 50?
But
And
wasn't
why
it
not
also
then
known as
100?
Labour Day? Wasn't that bank holiday also known as Labour Day, or have I got that wrong? Which
I
sounds
think
as
I
though,
think Labor Day is a US one, but then again, I'm not sure.
yeah,
Thank you for tuning into this podcast, which has already gone horribly, horribly awry.
yeah. Anyway, how was your weird bank holiday Easter thing? Also, side note, just going back to other countries, Spain definitely has loads of holidays, usually related to saints' days, I think. And
I think strongly Catholic countries probably have a lot more, don't they? Because Catholic saints are more of a thing, aren't they? I think.
yes,
Yeah,
definitely. Sorry, I now need to turn off my email because now that's who knew there would be so much communication at this hour of the day.
I certainly didn't.
Uh,
But yeah, how was my Easter weekend? It was okay. It was okay. I went out. I took my mother out on Friday for an afternoon tea at the social club, and we there was an Easter bonnet competition. So there is a vlog of that coming out for anyone who's interested in seeing my mother crafting. Which involves a lot of her sticking her tongue out. There's a joke that I point out in the vlog that the Jenkins family tongue comes out whenever any of us concentrate. We start sticking our tongue out. So yeah, there's a vlog of that coming out in a couple of days' time, but possibly before people hear this. I don't know. I've lost track of time.
it's funny, I stick my tongue out when I put makeup on.
Mm.
Very odd.
I can't do mascara without opening my mouth and going, "Ugh."
No, that's why I always do when if I'm doing a makeup video, I always turn the camera off to do my mascara because I look absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I'm not saying I don't look absolutely ridiculous at many other junctures on film, but
But specifically, that's when you notice it.
yeah,
Yeah, so
definitely.
we did Easter bonnets, and I think I looked stunning in mine, although Caroline has, accused me of looking embarrassing in it. I'm affronted, and I think it's jealousy. I think it's jealousy because you haven't got one.
It is. I don't have an Easter bonnet, and secretly, I want one. You say.
I told you I'm gonna send you mine because it's now sitting on the parcel shelf of the car, and then what do you do with it afterwards? You don't I don't need it now. I have no other occasions for which I will be wearing this creation.
Well, in days gone by, you would have cut off all the bits you stuck onto it and used them again to make next year's Easter bonnet because we were more thrifty and reusable than in those. We reused things more in those days.
Yeah.
You don't seem impressed by that idea.
I'm not massively impressed by the idea of having to make another one next year at all.
Just stick it in the back of the cupboard and bring it out next year, and you can say the immortal words, "Here's one I made earlier."
Yeah, so that was Friday. Saturday, I've no recollection of Saturday. That's a bit worrying, isn't it? What on earth happened Saturday? I think I went to work on Saturday, and that's why I've not bothered remembering Saturday. There was nothing of note. And then Sunday, I had mum over here for dinner, and the Sunday was a momentous occasion
Oh,
because I cooked for the first time in my entire life a joint of pork that sliced nicely.
oh, nice. What sort of was it? A particular special joint, or
Loin, I think, pork loin. We bought it from one of those butcher's vans. You know, the
oh
butcher's
yeah,
van outside the supermarket, and he stands there and hollers at you, and you end up buying things that you didn't know you were going to buy because he's made them sound like such a bargain. And you get home and you think, "Well, these three sausages for £400 really the bargain that I thought they were going to be?" But actually, but actually, this pork was a really good. He told me an entire pork loin, which was so big that he rested it on his shoulder while he was showing me one end of it. It
wow.
was wrapped. It was wrapped while he was resting one end on his shoulder, and then he said, "Oh, I'll cut it into joints for you." So he cut it into four joints for me, and I cooked one of the. It's £22.
God,
Twenty-two
that's a
pounds.
bargain for four joints.
Yeah, and I cooked
Bargain.
one of them for Easter Sunday, and I cooked it in the pressure cooker, and I managed to slice it. And I realised that this does not sound like an achievement to most people, but whenever I cook pork, it falls apart, which is great from a oh that sounds lovely and nice to eat falling apart kind of thing. But actually, you'd want to be able to slice it on the plate rather than pile up a load of scraps,
Yes,
don't you, for people,
yes.
you know?
If it's roast, you want slices of roast pork
Yeah.
rather than pulled pork. Yes, I'm with
Yes,
you on
exactly.
that.
Yeah. So yeah,
Oh, so that was
that
good.
yeah, that was Sunday, and then Natalie and I went to bingo on Sunday night after we took mum home. We tried taking mum to bingo once before, but she can't deal with commercial bingo rather than she can deal with little old lady bingo where it's quite slow and the caller will stop and say the number again if you missed it and things like that.
What's
But
little old lady bingo? What is this? I don't
a
know of
little old
this.
lady bingo is the kind of bingo you'd have if you went down your local pub or your conservative club or whatever, and you know they all know each other. And he says, "Oh, hang on, Marge has dropped her dabber," and they all wait while Marge finds her dabber, and so you know, and it's much more relaxed.
Oh, like they do when you go on a package holiday and they have
Yes,
entertainment in the evenings. Yes, I used to quite like doing that. I
whereas
think I'd be
commercial
better at
bingo,
old lady bingo as well. I think that would be absolutely perfect for me. I feel like I might be a
commercial
bit
bingo is a
stressed.
lot. Commercial bingo is a lot more fast paced, a lot more
Yeah.
pressured. Sorry, that's me opening a drink.
Yeah,
A lot more pressured.
it sounds a bit stressful, this commercial bingo.
Mum found it quite stressful, and again, and it does go very fast. They call the numbers very fast. They don't stop for you, and yeah, she and quite a lot of noise as well. I think she was overstimulated at the bingo. So
Yeah,
it was, when we asked if she'd like to go again, she said she didn't think so. Thank you.
fair enough. Tried it once.
Mm.
Given it a go. It's not for everyone.
Natalie and I took her home and went without her, and
Did you win?
Natalie won. Natalie had a win. I didn't have a win. Natalie had a win, but we share anyway. So you know.
Oh, that's nice. It's always good to do that, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
And what about you? What about your weekend?
My weekend was, yeah, it was nice. A bit hectic the first half of it. We had Saturday we had an Easter barbecue, which I thought might be an absolute disaster, but the weather was I wouldn't say the weather's been kind. I've got an obsession with the weather at the moment. I'm aware I talk about the weather a lot. I wouldn't say the weather was kind, but it wasn't very unkind. So although
We
it
had a
was a bit,
milder weekend, didn't we? Surprisingly mild.
yes, yeah. So we did manage to sit outside. We had family over, and we sat outside and christened our new garden furniture, and then we barbecued and we ate inside because it was a bit chillier by then. But yeah, we had a really nice day. My mum came to stay for a couple of nights, and Ashley's mum joined us as well. And Will came for a couple of nights as well. It was lovely to see him. He's not been home since January. And then Sunday night we went out for a curry with friends, which was nice. And yesterday we did almost entirely nothing.
Which is how bank holiday should be.
Yes, I say almost entirely nothing. I worked for half the day, but
Yeah, I
that's
worked half the day and then I spent the rest of the day trying to find eggs. Just not even Easter eggs, just actual eggs. I went to about 4 different shops before I managed to buy eggs.
really. Is there an egg shortage now?
There is a national egg shortage, yeah,
Is that
genuinely.
true, or are you
Yeah,
having
but
me on?
no, honestly, genuinely, due to the chicken flu or bird flu or whatever it was,
Oh,
there's an egg shortage because that's where the eggs come from. They come from the chickens. That's
thank you for that helpful clarification. Very, very useful. That.
But I just want to go back to you saying about your barbecue. I saw your pictures on Instagram, I think,
Yes,
and on your barbecue was an entire leg of lamb.
yes. Ashley's a
Did
bit of a
actually barbecue an entire leg of lamb?
no. He finishes it off on the barbecue. He's got into doing when we have a lot of people for a barbecue. He reckons it's not better value, but I suppose it is better value than doing lots of little bits of meat to do a whole leg of lamb. And he did a joint of beef as well. And he starts them in the oven. He rubs them in all sorts of stuff, herbs and garlic and what have you.
Body butter and talcum powder and
Yeah. Yeah, a bit of engine oil, you know. And then he does them in the oven. He sort of finishes them off on the barbecue. So yeah, that was possibly that was no, he hadn't spent the entire day standing there
I
for
was just
6.
thinking, how long does it take to barbecue an entire leg of lamb? Good God.
I think technically you could do it on that. It's a gas barbecue. I think you could because it's got a lid that closes down, so it's
Yeah.
sort of like an oven, I guess you could. But no, he cheats a bit.
So
It was
because
very
I was
nice. In
got some
fact, if I was being harsh, I'd say it was slightly overdone. But for me, that's better. I prefer my meat over, but more well done than rare. So
mm,
yeah.
Mum does. Mum wants it to be shoe leather. She wants it to be
Oh no, I don't
unreal.
want it to be shoe leather, but I want it to. Don't want it to be raw in the middle. You know.
Okay, you can serve lamb pink, can't you?
Yes.
Obviously chicken you're not supposed to serve pink, and is it are you're not supposed to serve pork until it's
No, pork's meant to be cooked all the way through, isn't
yeah.
it?
Whereas beef you can have almost raw, can't you? In fact, people do, don't they?
You can, can't you? You can have is it carpaccio of beef they call it when it's really thin slices that you have raw, literally raw?
Yeah, I've never fancied that. I mean, I like my
No.
steak medium rare, but I don't. I do want it to at least have had an acquaintance with the frying pan of some kind.
Well, yes, absolutely. I keep waiting, Carla, for you to do your weekly segue into the topic for the week, and you haven't managed to do it yet, have you? Are you trying?
Okay, hang on. I've got one. I've got one. It's just as well that you tried out your new garden furniture off camera because imagine how embarrassing it would have been if it had collapsed while somebody was sitting on it. Which brings me neatly into today's topic, which is embarrassing moments we have known. How's that for a segue? How's that?
It was pretty poor, to be honest.
Ah,
Forced,
well, okay.
forced.
Honestly,
Yeah,
nobody appreciates me around here.
we've done a couple of weeks of quite serious subjects, haven't we? So we thought we needed to lighten the mood a little bit with the discussion topics. So, yeah, some of our most embarrassing moments we're going to talk about. And I'm looking forward to this.
Oh dear, I'm not.
No, no.
Since
Who
you're
wants?
looking forward to it, I'll let you go first.
Oh God, really?
Yes, really.
Okay. So many years ago, maybe, where are we? I'm thinking like 23 years ago, something like that, possibly, maybe a bit more. My Ashley's brother and his wife went to India on holiday, and they came back. They lived next door to us at the time, so we were quite close with them. And they came back and she had bought herself a really nice silver jewelry box, and I admired it. I said, "Oh, I really like that jewelry box, lovely." Anyway, the next year they went back on holiday to India again, and she came back with a silver jewelry box for me, which was lovely of her. How kind. It wasn't quite the same as hers. Hers was all silver coloured, and the one she bought me had this sort of inlaid picture of a kingfisher. It was quite garish, and if I'm really honest, I really didn't like it very much. It wasn't my cup of tea because of this kingfisher picture. But notwithstanding that, obviously, I said, "It's lovely, thank you very much." And it was a lovely
Yeah.
thought, and I was very grateful, but it just wasn't my type of thing. So I didn't really use it. Fast forward a couple of years, and I was doing a car boot sale, and I decided that I would sell the silver jewelry box because I didn't use it, and it would be better for someone else to have it. And I was done with this car boot sale with my friend Annette, and we went to the car boot sale and laid out all our stuff. And funnily enough, the silver jewelry box was one of the first things to sell. Sort of middle-aged to elderly, probably my age now, so a young lady. In fact,
Age of extreme youth and
yes,
vitality.
a lady came up. She was interested. I had a look inside it, as people just said, "How much do you want for it?" I can't remember what I sold it for. £3, £4, something like that. And she was really chuffed with it. She said, "Oh, I really like that, thank you." And I thought, "Oh, that's nice that it's gone to someone who really likes it and is going to enjoy it." But because it's nice, isn't it, to put that people get things that they
Yeah.
like. It's one of the nice things about selling on eBay as a job, isn't it, that you put people connect people with objects that they like, type of thing. Um, Anyway, I thought no more of it until later on that week when I had a phone call from my sister-in-law, who informed me that she'd just been round to visit her aunt, and her aunt had been showing off her bargain car boot jewelry box.
Did she say it's just like the one I got you, or did she say it is the one I got you, isn't it?
She didn't need to say that because it was a really unusual thing, so there wouldn't be two of them knocking about Newton Abbot, would there?
What did you say?
What could you say? I just went hot and cold with embarrassment because not it was like, almost like it hadn't even been just a gift that she bought me. It had been something that I'd said I really liked, and she'd gone and hunted out a similar one and bought it back for me. And I think I just said, "Oh, I'm really sorry." I think I was lost for words, to be honest, but it was just one of those moments of absolute hot and cold embarrassment. Yeah, where'd you go with that? We got over it. We still speak, I should say. I did have to eat quite a lot of humble pie, and she never bought me another jewelry box again. I don't think she ever
I mean,
bought me
you're
another
gonna get
present.
if I was her, I'd have got you one for every birthday and every Christmas ever since. I would have bought you a plethora of them. Plethora? Plethora.
Yeah,
Where does the plethora?
I say plethora, but yeah.
Plethora. But yeah, I would have bought you a multitude. You would have been inundated every birthday, every Christmas. You would have had another one. I'd have ordered them from India in multiple stocks. Okay, is it my turn?
It
Mine
certainly
are
is,
mine
I
are
think.
all mine are all kind of physical.
Oh dear, I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
How many embarrassing moments have you got?
I've got possibly 3.
42.
Yeah, I mean, I could go on. How many have I
I've
got that
got
are suitable for the internet?
I've got possibly 3, and then I've got another one that involves both of us actually, so I'll save that one.
What, me as well?
Yeah, only you wouldn't have been embarrassed. I was the embarrassed party.
Do I know about it?
Yeah, I think yeah, I should imagine so. The fact that I'm still embarrassed by it says that you got over it quicker than I did. Shall I do that one first?
Yeah, you'll have to
It's
because I
been a
have
while.
no, mind you, but when we started this morning, can I just add this in? Carla's wearing a very nice grey cardigan with white stars on. And I said, "Oh, I really like your cardigan. It's really nice." And she said, "Well, you chose it." And I had absolutely no recollection of having done so. Apparently, I chose it when we did a other person chooses your clothes YouTube video. And it was a few years ago in my defense, but I literally have no recollection.
Yeah, we did a Simply Be video where we each chose several items for the other person, and this was one of the ones you chose.
What excellent taste I have.
Yes, don't you?
Anyway, crack on.
Yeah, the one that mildly involves you is one of those ones where you accidentally send someone the wrong message when you are talking about them to someone else.
See, clearly I've got over it because I had forgotten.
I'm still embarrassed by it. I can't remember the actual content, but I was in 2 Facebook Messenger conversations simultaneously, one with Lex. I think you, Lex, and I were in one group conversation,
Yeah,
and then I was in another conversation with Lex simultaneously, and I think you were having a bit of a rant about something again. I can't actually remember what. I think you were
it
having
was
a
in
bit of a,
an it was in another chat with a wider group of people.
yeah.
Uh,
And I think you had a bit of a rant about something or a complaint about something. I can't
yeah,
even remember the exact thing. But what I do remember is that I sent a message in my other chat to Lex, as I thought, saying something along the lines of, I think I quoted you and then put, why the hell can't she just be bloody cheerful about it? Or something
yeah.
worse than that. Hit the send button and then realized immediately what I'd done was that I'd sent that to you instead of to Lex. And I think we've all done it. I think we've all done this thing where we've sent something to the wrong person. That's not uncommon, is it?
Oh God.
But when you're being bitchy and you really shouldn't be being bitchy, and my inside just withered as soon as I realised I've just yeah However, I am a big believer that if you do something wrong, you should immediately apologise. So I rang you, didn't I? Straight rang you
Yeah.
immediately, and you were like, and I was like, I shouldn't have. I'm an absolute bitch, and I shouldn't have been bitching about you, and I'm so sorry, and I'm just genuinely very sorry that I not that I sent it to the wrong person, but that I was bitching about you in the first place, and I'm very sorry. And to be fair, you were far more forgiving about it than most people would have been. You really were. So
I think because we've all done it. Everybody has a bitchy moment about a friend, don't they? And you obviously were genuinely, absolutely toe-curlingly
still
embarrassed.
mortified about it now. Still,
Well, I am not a grudge holder either. I'm very. I blow up and I get cross about something and then it's gone for me. I'm not
yeah,
someone
same
who,
here. Same
yeah,
here. Yeah.
yeah. So it was quite easy for me to go.
My friend Tammy remembers things, and she'll say to me, "Do you remember during that argument we had in 1987 when you said blah blah blah?" And I'm like, "No, no, I don't remember. No, no. What did I? Sorry, I might. Should I apologise again?" But it's not so much that she holds the grudge about it, but she definitely retains all of the information about it, whereas I don't. I don't remember. Yeah, well, if it's over, then it's over.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
remember the
absolutely.
mortification of that one. Go on, it's your go. Tell me something else embarrassing that makes me feel better about myself.
Oh God, this one will you won't this will not resonate with you because this is a drinking one.
Well, I've
Many
got one of
years
those as
ago.
well.
Sorry,
Got one of those as well.
have you? Many years ago, Ashley and I went on our first all-inclusive holiday to Barbados, and it was very exciting. I was very excited, and we got there on the first day, and it was lovely, and the sun was shining, and the room was nice, and um, there was a welcome drink, and it was rum punch. You know, when you get to reception when you go on holiday, and they're checking you in, and someone comes around with a welcome drink, and it was rum punch. It was beautiful. It just tasted like fruit juice. It was so nice. Anyway, we arrived about, I don't know, mid-afternoon, and then we went and sat by the pool and we had some more of this rum punch and it was lovely, and then a bit more. And it was just going down. It tasted like fruit juice. And then we went and got changed and went to dinner and I had another rum punch. And very suddenly, towards the end of dinner, we're sitting in this beautiful outside restaurant, sort of raised up on decking, and there's sort of all sand and palm trees around the outside, and we're sitting sort of right on the edge of it on the decking. And very suddenly, during dinner, I leaned over to Ashley and I said, I'm really tired now, so I'm just going to go and lie down there. I got up from my chair, got down off this decking, and lay down on the sand right next to the very full restaurant. And the worst thing about it was I couldn't have done this on the last night of the holiday. This was the first night of the holiday, and I was spending a fortnight with these people who had seen me sprawled on the floor on the sand,
Beware the dangers of the rum punch.
having a small rest, yes, just before my main course arrived, as I recall.
Did you leave the room for the rest of the holiday?
Yes,
Anybody in the
but
world's ever
I
come back
obviously
from
wore a
Barbados
very,
way whiter than she went.
I wore a very large hat and a beard.
Yeah, I love that. I love the idea of Ashley just sitting there at the table because presumably he didn't go and have a lie down with you. He just sat there at the table.
I think he was so, Caroline, get up, get up. I've got to admit, my memory is a little fuzzy, but yes,
Brilliant.
awful. Right,
Brilliant.
over to you, your next one.
Do you want my alcohol related one or my holiday related one? Because they're not the
Whichever
same.
you think is the best.
Um, I'll give you my alcohol related one, which is one of the reasons I don't drink anymore. It doesn't agree with me anyway. I don't drink because it physically makes me feel very unwell very quickly. I get the hangover that everybody gets the next day. I get it within 20 minutes of drinking.
Oh
So it's
God.
just it's just not enough time to enjoy before you get the side effects. But when I was in my infancy, I was trying to plow on through these side effects. So I determined that I would be a
Yeah.
raging alcoholic, like all my friends. I would, because kids, you're 18. Well, I was thinking probably 16 back in those days, because people at home, it was a different time. Things were different then.
They
Okay.
were.
But yeah, I was probably 16 and in the pub and not supposed to be, you know what I mean? But you just, hid in the toilets if anybody came in who knew you. But yeah, we were pushing through this, the fact that Carla can't drink because it makes her ill, but Carla's going to drink anyway. And so this particular evening in the pub, I had several sherbets and then several more, and was very, very much the worse for wear. And I was sitting on a little pub stool, the old style pub stools that you don't really see them anymore. And I was next to the jukebox. I was sitting between the jukebox on one side and the cigarette machine on the other side. And again, people might not know about the old style cigarette machines. They weren't wall mounted; they were floor standing, but they were fastened into the floor, so you couldn't pick it up and take it home in the boot of your car, obviously. So they were drilled into. They stood on little iron feet, and the iron feet were drilled into the floor. And basically, what I'm telling you now is they couldn't move them,
Yeah.
and the gap behind them was quite small. And I reached off of my stool to try and reach the jukebox in some bizarre way that I couldn't even tell you what I thought I was going to try and achieve by putting my hand up to the jukebox. But the stool, being a stool, slid out from underneath me, and I fell behind the cigarette machine. Now, even at the age of 16, I had begun to be a little bit more curvy than I would have liked. I was probably about size 16 to 18, and the gap behind a pub cigarette machine is about 8 inches, probably about 8 inches wide. And so I fell into this gap off of the stool. I had fallen down onto the one arm, so I couldn't use the arm that I'd fallen onto to lever myself up, because I was wedged sideways behind the cigarette machine, lying on my side. My head had gone straight past the cigarette machine, was looking out behind it. So it was almost as if it filed me on my side behind the cigarette machine. It was some time before I could attract anybody's attention. I was down there, because they were all also a little bit the worse for wear. They were all having a lovely time. So I'm filed on my side on the floor behind the cigarette machine. I can't get up. I can't move. They had to unscrew the thing from the floor to get me out, because they couldn't lift me. They couldn't get enough people around it because of where it was to pull me back up at the 90-degree angle at which I'd fallen. I've never sobered up so quickly in my life. Never sobered up so quickly in my life as when I saw the man coming towards me with the toolkit. They were, he was gonna yeah, they had to unscrew the cigarette machine from the floor so that I could get out. I wasn't damaged. I wasn't injured in any way, but my pride was somewhat
Oh my
absent
God.
at that point.
That is hilarious, but also I feel cringeworthy as well.
Yeah, really, 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 really bad.
This one, this one is a sad story.
Okay, I will compose myself in readiness.
This is when I think about embarrassing moments. This is the one that I always think about first. And this was when I was probably about 12 or 13, and I went to a very strict, very old-fashioned private girls' school, and it was run by two horrific, vile old spinsters. They wouldn't be allowed anywhere near children now. They were nasty religious bullying women. And I often think, I often wonder why my parents sent me there, but times were different then, I guess. Anyway, they were big on manners and table manners particularly, and we used to eat in this dining room at big tables, and the headmistress would preside over the dining room at the top table at the centre of it, looking down across at what everybody was doing. And the food was generally okay there, but there's one particular meal called egg and bacon flan, which was, I guess, sort of like quiche, but the pastry was always raw. It wasn't cooked properly, and the egg was always undercooked and sloppy, and it literally made me gag.
You'd have a slice of tomato on the top of each piece as well. That was always
Oh,
a bit
nothing
frothy.
as exotic as that, no.
Oh.
It literally made me gag, and whenever it was that full of, there was no choice, lunch was lunch. Um, Whenever I saw that was on the menu, my heart used to sink and I used to feel sick. And depending on which teacher was presiding over your table, you could ask for a smaller portion. Some of them would just file and would give you a massive, great big portion. Anyway, I literally couldn't eat this stuff. If I'd eaten it, I would have been sick.
Yeah.
On that particular day, the teacher had given me quite a big portion, and I pushed it round my plate as much as I could, and eaten the bits off the top that I could. And there was still quite a lot left on my plate. And the rule was you had to finish what was on your plate. And I suddenly heard the dining room go silent, and the headmistress at the top of the dining room had got up off her table, off her chair, walked around the table and walked down the dining room. I was at sort of halfway down, and she stopped by me and she went, "Why haven't you eaten your lunch?" And I said, "Because I don't like it. I can't eat it." And she went, "Take your plate to the serving hatch and apologise to the kitchen staff." And of course, the whole dining room was silent. I think I started crying at that point. It was so mortifying, so embarrassing. She was so vile. And I had to stand up, every eye on that dining room on me, which is the worst thing, isn't it? When you're trying to fit in, you're a teenage girl who just awful. And to carry my plate all the way down the dining room to the serving hatch. I remember the lady in the kitchen who'd obviously witnessed the whole thing because it was silent and the head teacher was loud. She said to me, "Don't worry, love, don't worry, it's fine." I said, "Sorry, I couldn't eat my lunch." And yeah, that was just one of the most embarrassing things that ever. And
Yeah.
I credit that with the fact that I am so bolshy and won't take any shit now.
Yeah, I was just thinking that while you were saying that. I was like, well, I wonder if these domineering teachers realise that they have one of two effects when they do that to a pupil. Either they cow them for life, either they turn them into someone who is never brave enough to stand up for themselves in any way, and becomes a victim of that, or they have the opposite, which is they turn them into a monster.
Yeah. Well, perhaps not an entire monster, but yeah,
I think if you are oppressed in any way, and I realise that oppression is a strong term to use, but obviously
yes,
there are levels of oppression, and if you are oppressed in any way as a child, and you are of a naturally rebellious nature, then certainly as an adult you tend to go around going, "I will never be treated that way again," So definitely, yeah. It's
yeah,
being oppressed by various figures in my child has definitely turned me into the bolshy cow that I am these days. Yeah,
yeah. I
definitely.
think it does have a lasting effect. When I tell that story, I can still feel the feeling that I
Mm,
felt at the
yeah.
time. Just, oh yeah, horrible. Yeah,
Please, Lord, strike me dead. Please, I just begging
yeah,
for a thunderbolt now. Yeah.
absolutely. Anyway, have you got a more uplifting one to end on?
Um, Uplifting. I don't know if probably just funny to most. I realise that this is a YouTube related one. I have a YouTube related one, which is couple of years back now. I left a bit in a video that I meant to take out, and I did this ridiculous thing. Sometimes I drink a lot of fizzy pop. I drink a lot of fizzy pop. I don't drink tea or coffee. I drink Pepsi Max, and I drink a lot of it. And a side result of that is that I burp quite a lot. And sometimes when I'm recording a video, a burp will escape, and I immediately say quite loudly, edit afterwards. So that when I'm in the editing process, because sometimes I also have a tendency to do two things at once. So I'll be editing a video with one ear
Yeah.
and on my phone or doing something, and so I don't necessarily pay as much attention to the editing process as I should. So I got in the habit of saying edit very loudly after a burp
So you
to
hear
remind
it.
to take that out of the video, make sure I didn't accidentally leave any burps in. This one particular day, I not only left the burp in, I also left the edit in. So on this video, there's me going, a real Barney Rubble kind of, not Barney Rubble, who is he? The chap off of The Simpsons who does the big burp.
Oh, I don't know the Simpsons people at
Barney
all.
from Moe's Bar, anyway, I did one of those big burps like this, and then very loudly I said edit, and I managed to leave that in. And this video went live on whatever morning it was, and I'd gone off. I think I'd gone out for breakfast, and I got a message from Auntie Sue. Some viewers of my channel might remember Auntie Sue. She was a reseller. I don't know if she's still reselling, but she does nails and stuff now. Very lovely lady, very great friend. And she sent me a message saying, "You may want to edit out your edit."
Doesn't that always happen? Isn't
exactly.
your attention always drawn to something like that when you're in not a place where you
Yes.
can do it?
I couldn't do anything about it until I got home, and by then almost everything. So it's become a bit of a joke against me now that if ever I do burp around any of my YouTube friends now, somebody usually says edit. It is what it is. You know, there's no point doing YouTube videos if you're not prepared to be slightly embarrassed some of the time.
Exactly, yes. I think my worst one in that regard was leaving a reflection of myself with not very many clothes on in a hotel mirror while doing some sort of room tour.
Oh, didn't you do one of? Wasn't Ashley in at some point in one of the bathroom?
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of Ashley that wasn't meant to be there as well, wasn't there? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And I watched Beatrice Caruso. I really like Beatrice Caruso, and
Yeah.
she had the same thing. She recorded herself in the bath one day, and had made sure that every part of her that shouldn't be was on, and then realised that she was in and reflected in the mirror.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until people started messaging going, "B, we can see," and so now she still records herself in the bath because she sets up like a desk in the bath
Yeah.
and sits there. But now she gets in the bath in a swimming costume now, for modesty's sake.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. It's easily done.
Yeah, it really is. You don't think about mirrors in the room, do you, when you're filming and kind of, yeah.
You don't, and also background when you're vlogging somewhere that that's not static. When you're editing it yourself, you tend to focus on the front bit and not really what's going on in the
Yeah,
background. So
yeah.
yeah, it's not always easy. Excuse me. Anyway, shall we call this a podcast?
I think we'll have to call it a wrap or whatever the technical term is, because it's going to be about 6 hours long otherwise. If we
It
carry on
is,
talking about our embarrassing moments, because apparently they are legion.
yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this one. It was a little bit more entertaining, positive, and what's the
Less
word?
fancy.
Less ranty, less despairing than the
Yeah.
last couple of weeks. But we haven't decided on next week's subject yet. So if you have
Yeah.
any suggestions, do leave them on our Instagram page, which is linked below.
That was very professional.
It was,
That was
wasn't it?
professional as my segue.
Anyway, have a good week. I hope you remember what day it is, and I hope I remember what day it is too, but I doubt we will.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. No chance.
See you
Bye.
soon. Bye.